Hello class and welcome to Module 7. This is where we're going to go back to our concept of iteration that we introduced with the while statement back earlier in the semester. Now we're going to be introduced to our friend the for loop. And for loop paired with the topic of lists from the previous module are going to become very important as we think about starting to write programs that are going to do a set of operations on a potential list of GIS data as we move into the GIS functionality here in a couple of weeks. So this module right here, we are going to focus on the for loop, using the for loop to cycle through a list to be able to do something to it. Specifically, you're going to write a program that will print each of those items. You're going to write your own short for loop. You're going to revisit the concept of print statements, comments, variables, the input function. So hopefully at this point you're starting to realize that the concepts in this class are building on each other. We don't just learn something and then set it aside. We learn something and then we learn how to incorporate it with other things that we learn along the way in order to have a more robust coding experience. So for this reason, it is imperative that you have listened to and done all of the activities and taken all the notes leading up to now. I don't expect that you're going to have an immediate recall on all of this because it's so new. That happens after you practice it for a while. But what you do need to know is that you've already covered it and have some way of telling yourself where it is in the course material so you can go back and look at it. So being organized with this class is important, and knowing what has been covered under each module and each exercise is also important. We're also going to introduce you to another function called upper when it comes to managing for our strings. The things that you need for this particular module are just Canvas. There's no textbook resources for this particular module. And go ahead and create a Module 7 in your class folder so you can save all of your information, and in particular the scripts that you're going to create in this module. All right, so the first thing you do is just learn about the for loop and learn how it is another portion of iteration within the coding language of Python. And like all things, it's best just to jump right in and start practicing. So that's what this is. Here are a list of things that I want you to type into the interactive window, the shell window. And as always, I'll give you a screenshot of what the result should look like. Now, I've had a couple of questions about my version of Python here. And actually, as we move on, you're going to notice that my version is going to change now. My screenshots will say 3.7 because I've had to uninstall and reinstall Python a few times because of some issues on my computer. Don't be concerned with the version of Python. The version of Python is tied to how up-to-date your ArcPro installation is. The key is that you are on Python 3. The numbers that follow that don't matter. So you just want to make sure that what opens is Python 3. That tells you that you're opening the Python associated with the ArcPro installation. If it opens with Python 2, that tells you that it's opening with the Python that was installed with ArcMap, which is another ArcGIS desktop program. You don't want Python 2, you want Python 3. All right. Always make sure that you read these summary statements because they are calling out the very important elements that you have been introduced to when you have typed in your code and then also looked at the result. So make sure that you read through all of those. And as always, we just next through these comments. Then after 7.1, very quickly, you're going to jump to 7.2, which is you're going to write a script or a program that uses the for loop logic and the list logic. I give you the code that you're going to write in here, so you need to make sure that you type this in on your own. Remember, no copying and pasting because that just causes problems. What you're going to do is you're going to write a program that's going to create a team cheer for whatever team the person would type in. So if you're a Hoosier fan, you type in Hoosiers. We're not Buckeye fans. Okay, you can be a Buckeye fan. If you're a Buckeye fan, you type in Buckeyes. If you're a Patriots fan, you type in Patriots. If you're a Chiefs fan, you type in Chiefs. If you're a Red Hawks fan, you type in Red Hawks. You get the idea. But it asks the user with input, which you're already familiar with, to type in a piece of information, and then you're going to take that information, and what you're going to do now is you're going to use the for concept with a list to be able to cycle through each of these letters and do a team cheer for that. And you're also going to be introduced to the upper function. So wouldn't it be nice with whatever they typed in that we were able to scream their letters? And how do you do that? Of course, we all know uppercase is a way in the text world we can scream. So we're going to transform whatever they type in, put everything in uppercase, and send them back a cheer for their team. So write that program, run it a few times. You might have to run it a couple times in order to clear out the errors. That's totally normal. All right, but here is the screenshot of exactly what it should look like for it to run properly. You're going to turn in this cheer program, and we're going to run it as we grade. So make sure that you save it with the proper headers, right? And you save it with comments, and you make sure that you upload it here to the assignment. And then that is it for Module 7. So a very quick module, but you're going to notice that this for loop is so important. It's going to start to circle back in everything that we do in the future. All right, on to the next one.